What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing today? Welcome back to another vinyl pickups video. So I'm finally back filming on my phone because I got a lot of free storage now on it, and I'm pretty happy about that, so I can film all I want without any problems. So overjoyed about that, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about what I got. So got my usual vinyl and 2 CDs at Newbury Comics. I've been going there a lot this summer. I mean, I've been driving down to the mall, bringing my sister with me, and making her wait a half hour for me to make my choices. I mean, when you're in the store with a lot of records and a lot of CDs, you're in there for at least a half hour. I mean, it is what it is. But so I'm gonna be showing off what I got to you guys. So without further ado, let's get started. So let me grab the vinyl first. There we go. So for the vinyl, this is a classic band. That this is the band that wrote the first song that every guitar player learns the first riff. You might already know where I'm going with this. This is their first album with a new lead singer and a new bass player, and that is Deep Purple, Burn, 1974. This album came out. Look at that album cover. It doesn't get much better than that. All of them as candles, and then this is the back. They're all melting. You gotta love it, man. So at this point, Ian Gillan and Roger Glover out of the band by now. Ian Gillan and Ritchie Blackmore aren't getting along. Ian Gillan and Roger Glover leave. In comes David Coverdale on vocals and Glenn Hughes on bass. David Coverdale is kind of a different singer than Ian Gillan. Ian Gillan, just like regular singing voice, is like a little bit more raspy, a little bit more gutsy. And Ian Gillan's got obviously this high screeching vocals. Well, David Coverdale's vocals are, they're like a little bit more smoother and a little bit more soulful, which, he actually fits in really good on this album. His vocals on this record are awesome. I love it. And, Glenn Hughes, doing good on bass, really digging his bass playing on this album. But you still got Ritchie Blackmore on guitar. You still got John Lord on keyboards. You still got Ian Pace on drums. This is a great album. I mean, the classic Deep Purple album, this is probably a top 3 Deep Purple album for me. I really dig this a lot, For songs, it starts off with the title track. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, what an album opener. Like a early heavy metal right there. I mean, that's a classic tune, Love it, love it, love it. And then you got Might Just Take Your Life, great tune. Lay Down, Stay Down, Sail Away, for side 1. And then for side 2, you got You Fool No One, What's Going On Here. And then you got Mistreated. My problem with Mistreated is that, it's 7.5 minutes long. I mean, I don't think it needs to be that long. The song, after 4 or 5 minutes kind of bores me. So, I mean, if they cut off 2-3 minutes off it, I would really like it better. But, I mean, it's still a ripping, bluesy, heavy rock tune. I still really dig it. And then ends off with A200. So, it's a really good, I really dig this a lot. It's a classic Deep Purple album, You got the opening with the title track. I mean, man, it's leave me speechless. I mean, come on. But yeah, classic Deep Purple album. I dig this a lot. And there's that. All right. Starting off with the CDs. So this is an album that I took a chance on. Everybody really sadly only knows this band for one song, but this album that I got is where the band's only well-known song is on, and took a chance on this record. I saw it in the store. I was like, I gotta get it. I mean, I mean, going old-fashioned and taking chances on stuff. So that band is Mountain, and then this record's called Climbing. Obviously Mountain. Mississippi Queen. If you know what I mean, obviously, I mean, everybody knows that song. If you're a classic rock fan or hard rock metal fan, I mean, everybody knows that song. I mean, so, but yeah, this is actually a really great band. I mean, I took a chance on this album. I love this album. I mean, it's a great album. You got Leslie West on guitars and vocals. Freaking love his guitar playing on this album. It's got this great fuzzy, distorted tone. Tasty Lee playing. And then you got Felix Pappalardi on bass and vocals. Felix Pappalardi produced this album as well. He produced most of the Cream albums, He produced Disraeli Gears. He produced Wheels of Fire. And I think he produced their last album, Goodbye. So, yeah, he's I love the production on this album. He's a great producer. I mean, he produced Cream, which is the first ever supergroup, so I mean, he's got to be good. But yeah, like his bass playing on this album. He sings on this album too, like I mentioned before. And then you got Steve Knight on keyboards and, like Hammond organ and, Mellotron and all that stuff. And you got Corky Lang on drums. I mean, this is a great album, like I said before. Leslie West's vocals are more like kind of raspy and more just like gutsy. Well, Felix Pappalardi's vocals are a little bit more like soulful and like smooth. I tend to kind of like the Leslie West songs more because I don't know, but I still love the Felix Pappalardi songs as well. I think those are really good as well too. But for songs, opens up with Mississippi Queen. I mean, like I mentioned before, if you're a hard rock, classic rock, metal fan and you've never heard that song, I mean, you've been living under a rock your whole life. I never get tired of that song. I mean, what a barnstorming heavy rock tune, I never get tired of it, And then you got Theme from an Imaginary Western, which is kind of like this, like, kind of atmospheric tune. I really like the Hammond organ on that song. I think it's sung by Felix Pappalardi. And then you got Never in My Life, which is another bruising heavy rock tune. Oh man, I love that song. And it's sung by Leslie West as well. Freaking great, screeching vocals on that song. I love it. And then you got Silver Paper, which nice, tasty lead playing from Leslie West on that song. Really dig that a lot. And you got Fayazgar Farm. Sorry, I can't speak. Fayazgar's Farm, which I think that song is dedicated to the guy who owned the land that Woodstock was on. I think at least because these guys played at Woodstock. I think this was like before they even released an album. I think when they played at Woodstock, because this came out in 1970. And then you got To My Friend, which is actually a really cool instrumental, guitar instrumental by Leslie West. He's playing like this really kind of cool guitar playing. It's not like really, it's not bluesy or anything. It's really kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. And then you got The Layered, which is a song that's very kind of like, it sounds like very like Indian inspired, very like there's a lot of like Indian influence in that song, like Indian classical. Really good, really cool. And then you got Sitting on a Rainbow, which is another great heavy rock tune. And then it ends off with Boys in the Band. This is a really good album. And when you think of the four bands that kind of started heavy metal, you think Sabbath, Zeppelin, Purple, and Uriah Heep. But I think Mountain should be considered in that because, this is a really heavy album for 1970. Heavy, bluesy, heavy rock. I mean, this is like one of the heaviest things that you could go to at the time. Because back then, in 1970, heavy metal really wasn't a thing besides like, Black Sabbath and Zeppelin and Purple and Uriah Heep and, like any of those bands. But like, I feel like this should be mentioned. Great album. If you never checked this out, if you never checked out Mountain besides Mississippi Queen, I think you should, because they're a great kind of bluesy heavy rock band. Like a little bit of psychedelia in their music, a little bit of kind of like Indian classical influence. Really dig it a lot. And sorry, I'm talking a lot here. This last album is an album I got into like 2 years ago when I was getting heavily into like jazz and jazz fusion. This was like the first jazz album that I really heavily got into. I still absolutely love it to this day. It might be my favorite jazz album of all time. Herbie Hancock, Headhunters, 1973. I remember I showed you guys Thrust, which I think I showed in the third Vinyl Pickups video. I love that album a lot, but this is classic. This is, if you want to get into jazz and like jazz fusion, I think start with this, or like start with like Miles Davis or Weather Report or Mahavishnu Orchestra or any of those like fusion bands, because I tend to gravitate more towards like jazz fusion, jazz funk than like regular jazz. Because sometimes like regular jazz kind of bores me for some reason. Not all the time, but like I kind of have to be in the mood for it. With fusion, I also have to be in the mood for fusion too. But I can kind of gravitate towards that more because it's kind of like more interesting to me than regular jazz. Not that regular jazz is not interesting, but like this stuff is just like has like more kind of like interesting things about it. But back to Headhunters, great album. This is Herbie Hancock's masterpiece right here. Like this is one of the greatest selling jazz albums of all time. But for the lineup, you got Herbie Hancock on Fender Rhodes electric piano. You got clavinet, ARP Odyssey, synthesizer. Every single like keyboard and piano in the book. You got Bernie Maupin on soprano and tenor saxophone, saxello, bass clarinet and alto flute. You got Paul Jackson on electric bass. You got Harvey Mason on drums, and you got Bill Summers on all kinds of percussion. You know, all these things, there's only 4 songs on there. That's really all you need. You know, it starts off with Chameleon, 15 minutes time. Freaking love that bass riff. You know, I remember before COVID, I was actually in a band, or like it was kind of, we like jammed, and like Chameleon was actually one of the songs that we played, and just love the song. You know, it got that bass line, dum 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 dum. Oh, it's awesome. And then you got that whole middle section, which is completely different, which is like really kind of like spacey and atmospheric. Like Herbie Hancock's like kind of jazz funk period is like really kind of spacey and like very atmospheric. I mean, like you kind of just feel like you're just like in a spaceship. It's really cool. And then you got Watermelon Man, which I mean, friggin', it's one of the most famous jazz standards of all time. You know, he had like his original version from like the early mid '60s, and then on this album he completely revamped it or completely changed it, and it's just so good. You got that bass line, and then it starts off with that like kind of like that I don't even know what it is. I think it's like that thing. It's like a beer bottle or something like that, and he's like ooh 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 ooh. It's just so good, and all of a sudden the groove just gets in. It's just I'm like grooving that song every time I hear it. And then you got Sly. I think Sly is absolutely fantastic. I don't know what just fell up there, but Sly is absolutely fantastic. And you got Wailing Saxophone from Bernie Maupin. It's just that song is just absolutely pure perfection. And then you got Vein Melter, which is another really good song with the wah bass ball. Wow. Wow. Oh, it's killer. Just I used to play this album all the time, like a couple of years ago. I still go back to this a lot, and I'm like, man, it's just great. But if you want to get into like jazz fusion, I suggest you start with this Herbie Hancock Headhunters. And this is kind of like the start of a period in his career where he was doing the whole jazz funk thing. Like his next couple of records were pretty much jazz funk, but this pretty much started because before he was doing kind of like this kind of like free avant-garde jazz thing, which that's great too. But I mean, the jazz funk stuff I just gravitate towards more. But yeah, I did a lot of talking in this video, and yeah, I just kind of got really excited to film this for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed, and more of these coming soon. I'm gonna be going to Newbury Comics a lot this summer and getting stuff, or maybe ordering stuff off Amazon and showing you guys, because I really do enjoy this. I hope you guys enjoy this too. I mean, because I have a complete blast filming these, because you know what, it gives me something to do over the summer during a summer where I'm pretty much kind of free a lot and not really doing much. I mean, I don't know about the rest of the summer, but you know, just gonna be filming more of these, maybe working, I don't know, but hang out with friends. I mean, I don't really know, but yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed. Please sub and turn on post notifications and like the video, and look forward to more of these in the future. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Have a great night. Take care. Rock on.